Ever wondered why time management techniques fail despite your best efforts? The answer lies in a fundamental misunderstanding. While modern productivity advice tells you to manage your time better, the Amish take a completely different approach. They design life structures where rushing becomes physically impossible. This isn't about doing less or working slower. Morning sequence. The Amish morning begins identically every single day. 4:30 a.m. wake, cold water washing, animal tending, breakfast at 6:30 a.m., devotions at 7 a.m. This rigid sequence isn't restriction, it's liberation from the decision fatigue and morning chaos that plague modern households. When every morning follows the same pattern, the body and mind operate on autopilot. No decisions about what to do first, no rushing because you overslept after an inconsistent schedule, no morning anxiety about forgetting crucial tasks. The sequence runs automatically through habit, requiring minimal mental energy and creating a calm, predictable start regardless of the day's upcoming challenges. Modern mornings feel rushed because they lack structure. Different wake times, varying routines, constant decisions about breakfast choices and morning priorities. This variability demands mental energy and creates opportunities for delays that cascade into daytime rushing. The Amish eliminate this chaos through habit architecture that makes calm mornings automatic rather than requiring discipline to achieve them each day. Monotasking. Amish workspaces are structurally designed to prevent multitasking. A carpenter's workshop contains hand tools for woodworking period. No computer for checking email. No phone for interruptions. No radio for distraction. The physical environment permits only one type of work, eliminating the possibility of task switching that creates the perpetual feeling of being behind. This monotasking isn't achieved through personal discipline, fighting against an environment full of distractions. The environment itself prevents distraction by simply not containing distracting elements. A farmer in the field cannot check social media because no device exists to check it on. A woman quilting cannot answer text messages because no phone sits beside her. The structural absence of interruption technology means focused work happens naturally rather than requiring constant willpower to resist available distractions. Modern workers attempt monotasking in environments designed for multitasking computers that enable instant switching between dozens of applications, phones that interrupt with notifications, open plan offices where colleagues create constant disruption. They're fighting their environment rather than being supported by it. The Amish workspace structure makes focused attention the default option rather than the difficult choice requiring constant self-control. Speed limited. Transportation infrastructure fundamentally shapes life pace in ways we rarely recognize. Amish reliance on horse and buggy travel with maximum speeds of 8 to 10 miles per hour creates a built-in governor on life pace that highways traveling at 70 miles per hour cannot provide. When your fastest possible travel speed is 10 miles per hour, you cannot create a rushed schedule even if you wanted to. A trip to a neighbor 5 miles away requires a minimum of 30 minutes each direction. You cannot compress this time through aggressive driving or shortcuts. The physical limitation forces realistic scheduling that accounts for actual travel duration, eliminating the optimistic time estimates that create rushing. The walking pace for nearby destinations reinforces this speed limitation. Walking 1 mile takes approximately 20 minutes apace, allowing observation, thought, and presence, rather than the stressed tunnel vision of highway driving. There's no traffic to fight, no aggressive drivers to navigate around, no road rage from congestion. The journey happens at a pace the human nervous system evolved to handle calmly. Modern infrastructure enables and therefore encourages unrealistic scheduling. The ability to drive 70 miles per hour creates the expectation that we should pack our schedules accordingly, leading to perpetual rushing between overscheduled commitments that could only work if traffic, parking, and transitions all go perfectly. Calendar-based. The annual agricultural cycle creates natural work distribution that prevents the year-round intensity characteristic of modern careers. Spring demands planting energy. Summer requires crop maintenance and hay harvesting. Fall brings the intense push of harvest. Winter allows for equipment repair, planning, and relatively lighter physical demands. This seasonal variation means no single type of work continues relentlessly year-round. The planting intensity of April and May gives way to different summer tasks, preventing burnout from sustained peak effort in one area. The demanding fall harvest is survivable because its temporary winter rest follows inevitably. Modern work operates opposite to this natural rhythm. The same tasks continue year-round at similar intensity. Sales quotas exist every quarter. Production targets remain constant monthly. There's no structural breathing room, no guaranteed lighter period following intense pushes. Workers are expected to maintain consistent output indefinitely, leading to the chronic feeling of never being caught up because there's no natural completion point. The Amish calendar doesn't just distribute work temporally, it also creates clear progress markers. Planting is finished when fields are planted, harvest is complete when crops are gathered. These definitive completion points provide psychological closure that ongoing modern work rarely offers, where projects blend into each other without clear boundaries, signaling true accomplishment. Cooperative workload system. Individual Amish families never face major projects alone. Barn construction, home building, large harvests, and other overwhelming tasks become community events where dozens or hundreds of people gather, transforming multi-week individual projects into single-day collective efforts. This cooperative structure eliminates the crisis mentality that creates rushing. When your barn burns and needs replacement, you're not facing months of desperate work trying to rebuild while maintaining all other farm operations. The community rebuilds it in a single day through a barn raising, allowing you to return immediately to normal pace rather than entering emergency mode for extended periods. The psychological impact extends beyond the practical work distribution. Knowing that overwhelming challenges will be met with community support prevents the anxiety and rushed planning that major projects create when faced alone. You don't need to rush through current work to prepare for upcoming large projects because you know the community will provide the labor surge needed when that time comes. Modern society's individualistic structure means families face major challenges, home repairs, medical emergencies, life transitions alone, or with only immediate family help. This isolation creates perpetual vulnerability to crisis mode, where unexpected challenges force rushed, stressed responses because no structural support system exists to absorb the shock. The Amish cooperative system distributes burden across many people, preventing any individual from carrying crushing loads that force rushed, compromised work. The tool pace. The tools you use determine the pace at which you can work, and therefore the pace at which you're expected to work. Amish reliance on hand tools creates pace limitations that prevent the unsustainable acceleration characteristic of power tool work. Sawing lumber by hand allows cutting perhaps 20 board feet per hour. A skilled carpenter works steadily and carefully because rushing causes mistakes, crooked cuts, damaged wood, wasted materials. The tool itself governs pace through physical feedback. Try to rush, and quality immediately deteriorates in visible ways that force pace correction. Power tools enable dramatically faster work. Cutting 200 board feet per hour becomes possible, but this capability creates the expectation of that output level. The structural governor disappears. You can attempt to rush, and the tool continues functioning, masking the quality degradation until later. The faster pace becomes the new baseline expectation, and soon you're rushing to meet deadlines that would have been impossible with hand tools. This pattern repeats across all modern technology. Email enables sending hundreds of messages daily, creating the expectation of rapid response that letter writing never generated. Text messaging allows constant communication, establishing expectations of immediate availability that phone calls to a single landline never created. Each technological acceleration raises baseline expectations, forcing users to rush to meet standards that simply didn't exist before the technology made them theoretically possible. Amish tools don't just limit pace, they provide immediate negative feedback for rushing. Hand plane a board too quickly, and tear out ruins the surface instantly. Hand sew too fast, and stitches become uneven immediately. The tool itself teaches sustainable pace through direct consequences, unlike modern technology that enables unsustainable pace without immediate correction. Mandatory meal breaks. 3 times daily, Amish work stops completely for meals, not working lunches, eaten at desks, not grab snacks while continuing tasks, but full cessation of labor for family meals lasting 30 to 45 minutes. This isn't cultural preference overcoming schedule pressure. Its structural requirement prevents work from consuming the entire day. The architectural element is social rather than physical. Meals happen at the family table with all members present. This gathering requires stopping work and returning to the home, creating a structural break that working through lunch cannot bypass. The social expectation of family presence prevents the "I'll just grab something quick and keep working" mentality that eliminates modern meal breaks. These mandatory pauses prevent the continuous pushing that creates rushed feelings. After working 3 or 4 hours, the body and mind need rest regardless of task urgency. Without structural breaks, modern workers often push through fatigue, becoming less efficient while feeling increasingly rushed as their depleted capacity struggles to maintain pace. The Amish meal structure enforces rest before depletion occurs, maintaining capacity throughout the day. The digestive system requires rest for proper function, something modern medicine increasingly recognizes through research on eating while stressed or distracted. Amish meals happen in calm, seated environments with attention focused on eating rather than multitasking, allowing proper digestion that maintains energy levels. Rushed eating or working through meals creates digestive stress that contributes to the drained feeling modern workers often experience mid-afternoon. Weather-driven deadlines. Amish work operates on natural deadlines rather than arbitrary calendar dates, creating fundamentally different psychological pressure. Planting must happen when soil temperature and moisture reach appropriate levels, dates determined by weather, not human scheduling. Hay must be cut, dried, and stored during windows of dry weather that appear and disappear based on meteorological conditions beyond control. These natural deadlines feel less stressful than artificial ones because they're recognized as external realities rather than human-imposed expectations. Missing a planting window because rain prevented field work generates different emotions than missing a work deadline because you couldn't finish in time. The former is acknowledged bad luck. The latter feels like personal failure. The flexibility built into natural deadlines also reduces rushing. If weather delays planting by a week, planting simply happens a week later. The crop cycle adjusts, harvest dates shift accordingly, and life continues. There's no equivalent of quarterly earnings reports that must be met regardless of circumstances. No annual reviews that judge you against fixed calendar expectations regardless of conditions you faced. Modern artificial deadlines lack this flexibility. The quarterly report happens on schedule regardless of market disruptions, client delays, or other external factors. The project deadline remains fixed even when unforeseen complications arise. This rigidity forces rushing to meet inflexible expectations rather than adapting expectations to realistic conditions. Darkness enforced stopping. Limited artificial lighting in Amish homes creates a structural endpoint to each workday that modern electric lighting eliminates. As daylight fades, outdoor work becomes impossible. Indoor work can continue by oil lamp or gas light, but the limited, localized lighting makes only certain tasks, practical reading, handwork, conversation, while making others difficult or dangerous. This light limitation creates an automatic transition from productive work to evening rest that requires no discipline to enforce. You cannot decide to work a few more hours when darkness makes that work impractical. The environment itself dictates stopping, allowing the body and mind to transition into evening rest mode without the guilt or temptation that modern lighting creates. Electric lighting's 24-hour availability removes this natural boundary. You can work any hour of day or night, and therefore feel you should work whenever tasks remain incomplete. The structural stopping point disappears, replaced by personal decision-making about when enough is enough, a decision that rushed, stressed people typically resolve by working longer rather than resting. The circadian biology connection is significant. Evening darkness triggers melatonin production and physiological wind-down processes preparing the body for sleep. Bright artificial light suppresses these processes, keeping the body in active mode when it should be transitioning toward rest. Amish evening darkness alignment with circadian rhythm creates natural tiredness that encourages rest rather than extended work hours.